Ooh, remote jobs. Which companies offer remote jobs? How do I find it? Does it pay well? Will I have to work through the night in India? These are some of the questions you might have about remote jobs. As you're probably aware, I'm currently working remotely at a bank in Eastern Europe, based out of India. That makes me qualified to talk on this subject. Let's get started. The perspective. As always, let's start with the perspective, the thought process of a remote job. So let's start by defining it. What exactly is a remote job? Here's the definition from our favorite Wikipedia. Remote work, work from home, yada yada yada. I have a much simpler definition. You know that you're working remotely when you have to take a flight to go to office. Is remote working real in 2023? Now that's a good question. I've put together a remote working maturity map for you. Let's get in. So there are a lot of organizations that are born remote. They typically do not have a development center. They might just have some satellite offices, some 10-seater, 20-seater in some big cities. That's remote work. Now, GitLab is one of the pioneers of remote work, and GitLab's remote working playbook is widely considered the manuscript on this topic. It's a manuscript from which a lot of organizations derive inspiration from on how to structure remote work, how to scale up remote work, what are the nuances when you have teams 100% distributed across countries, across time zones. They provide a lot of guidance on that. Another company that you're probably all familiar with is Atlassian. Atlassian is obviously the maker of Jira, which you might love it, you might hate it, but it's here to stay. And Atlassian pivoted to a 100% remote company post-pandemic. In fact, when they announced their Team Anywhere strategy in 2021, it said that their approximately 5,700 developers can work from where you feel the happiest. I love that line. Another very interesting company is Automatic. These are the guys behind WordPress, Tumblr, Gravatar. They are a 100% distributed company with about 2,100 automaticians, as they call them, in 97 countries, speaking 124 different languages. Wow, now that's scale at being remote. Now 100% remote companies are great because remote working is in their DNA. However, this list is still small even though it's rapidly growing. There's another category of organizations which have embraced remote working for a certain percentage of their workforce. They still have physical office, but they also employ a bunch of remote workers. This model is becoming more and more popular now, especially post-pandemic. This is the model where I also got employed. Now, the reason for onboarding remote talent in these kind of an organizations is as follows. Accessibility to niche skills, exposure of their workforce to international personnel. Number 3, it gives a perception of a cool place to work because that place is so cool enough that you can attract international talent, and that enhances the brand value to attract local top talent as well. So it works for the organization who's doing remote work, and it obviously works for people like us who want to work remotely. Great. So how do I find a remote job? If I'm less than 5 years experience, or let's say a fresher, I'll give you the short answer first. You do not find a remote job. The remote job finds you. Let me be absolutely brutally honest with you. Actively finding a remote job, applying for it, securing it is really hard. It's possible. It's been done before, but it takes an exceptional level of perseverance and grit. An alternate approach where things are in your control is to do something that opportunities are created for you to get a remote job. And the way to do it is you start working with people in multiple countries so that over a period of time they like your work and then they are very likely to offer you a job working remotely. Now that sounds long drawn and complicated. Let me show you how to make it happen. Step number 1, prerequisites. Prove that you can code. And of course, it's assumed that you can code and code bloody well. And how do you know whether you can code or not? By demonstrating your body of work. If you have a rock solid GitHub profile where you can demonstrate your code, the software you have built, the applications you have created, that is the best proof of the pudding. If not, you will have to be creative and find out other ways to demonstrate your body of work. Let's say by competitive programming on those websites, showing your score and so on and so forth. We'll talk about this as we go along. If your programming scene is not world class, pause this video and think about it. Unless you have another plan in place, shit is going to get serious, my friend. Think about it. Number 2, contribution to open source. This is by far the easiest way to crack the code, figuratively speaking. The trick here is to contribute to big programs where big people work in big countries. And every open source project today has beginner friendly requirements. Even things like Kubernetes. Let me show you how to get started with all of this. A great place to start your open source contribution is this website, First Timer Only. So you can see here, they've given a complete roadmap. First Contributions is a hands-on tutorial that walks you through contribution workflow on GitHub. So how do you fork a project? How do you submit a pull request? So on and so forth. So if you look at this, First Contributions aims to simplify and guide the way beginners make their first contribution. Then Up for Grabs is a site that aggregates projects that actively want help and typically look for tags like Up for Grabs, Jump or Help Wanted. So let's see that. Up for Grabs. So projects by popular tags by JavaScript, .NET, Python, C#, Web. Then this is another good one that I know, Good First Issues. Now, Good First Issues is where you can filter by programming languages and they will tell you these are issues which are for first time contributors. For example, add a list of plugins. So automate product release on Discord. So they might have given something and you see there, that's the tag, Good First Issue. See, ECS container insights should be enabled. So it's a simple rule enablement there. Then there's the accomplishment to that, goodfirstissues.dev, similar thing, and you can select on your language here. The next one, Google Summer of Code. What is Google Summer of Code? It's a 12 weeks programming project under the guidance of mentors. You can see how many people have come in here. This is how you become a GSOC contributor. A lot of people then go on to become a GSOC mentor as well. Then another one, Major League Hacking. They do a lot of hackathons all across India also. So it's a good place to be. And then similarly, there is MLH Fellowship. You can learn software engineering programming through open source. This is a 12-week internship. Number 3, learn in public. This is by far the most undervalued approach. What does it mean, learn in public? It exactly means what it sounds like. Show the good work that you do in public. Why would you want to do it? 2 reasons. Number 1, to solidify your learning. And number 2, it can help some people who are on the learning journey and who are at similar places that you are. One issue in this learn in public is called imposter syndrome, which basically is, who the heck am I to talk about Kubernetes? I barely started learning Kubernetes myself 2 days back. Ali Abdal, who's one of my favorite YouTubers, says this: you do not have to be an expert to teach anything. All you have to know is a little bit more than the person whom you're teaching. And that's enough. Because the way I teach Kubernetes, if I've just learned it 2-3 days back, will be very different from somebody who's an expert level person in Kubernetes who's known it for 5 years. Because they will assume a lot of things for me to know, which I will not. So maybe, just maybe, I am more relatable as a teacher if I'm just getting started. I also talk about imposter syndrome in one of my previous videos, which will be linked somewhere here. Let me give you some practical tips on how to learn in public. Number one, share what you're learning. Maybe you just started learning Ansible or Chef or Kubernetes or about cloud. Maybe you just started learning about how to contribute to open source. Start writing a blog about it. Start recording a video. If you're video shy, start writing. If you're audio okay, maybe start a small podcast around it. Attend conferences, webinars. There are a lot of them which are free and online right now. Pick 1 or 2 sessions that you really liked. Share what you learned in a LinkedIn post and then tag the speaker. You'll be surprised at how often the speaker is likely to revert back. Have an intelligent conversation there. Create some relationships. Then send a LinkedIn invite to the speaker. You're learning something on YouTube. You saw a good video. You really loved the way it was presented. Take a screenshot, post it on LinkedIn, Twitter, and tag the person who made the video. That's how you create a network. That's how you learn in public. Okay, I get it. But you're saying write blogs, write articles. Where the heck am I supposed to write them? Let me show you a couple of places. Hashnode, that's one very popular free blogging platform for developers. You can see what are the trending tracks in this. DevOps, 189 articles this week. Let's look at some of them. See a small intro into oh man, 4 hours ago somebody's written this. That's so nice. DevOps according to me. Why not? Why not? Getting started with DevOps. See, a minute ago, Shreya Gupta has written this. That's so beautiful. That's exactly what I'm talking about. She's getting started on DevOps. Right? 90 days of DevOps. Oh, this looks interesting. Entering into DevOps field. Top 25 Linux commands. Nice idea. So, 90 days of DevOps. Okay. Okay. So, this, within 90 days of DevOps is given basic Linux commands. Okay. PWD. Okay. Created a nested directory. So cool. So cool, man. Just 3 things. Beautiful. Another good place to start writing is HackerMoon. This platform has about 35,000 contributors. I read somewhere. It's pretty cool. So you go here and write. Dev.to, one of my favorite ones. I get a lot of ideas from here. See this. Dev community is a community of 1 million amazing developers. People writing a lot of stuff here as well. How to find a remote job. If you're more than 5 years experience, let's say 7, 10, 15 years experience. Let me give you the short answer first. You do not find the remote job. The remote job finds you. Prerequisite. Figure out your area of expertise. It is okay that you are a developer. That's your role. What's your expertise in? Are you a Java structs expert? Are you an expert at the back end? Are you a Node.js ninja? What in development? It's okay that you are a system engineer or a DevOps engineer. Do you specialize in Azure DevOps? Do you specialize in infrastructure as code? What's your core specialization area? And the only condition by which you can claim an area of specialization is the same, to show your body of work. Now at more experience levels, you probably just cannot show code because it's proprietary code, it's written for an organization. Fair enough, I get it. Are there any other ways in which you can demonstrate your expertise? Have you written articles? Do you have blogs running? Had any patents granted to you? Are there any open source major contributions that you've made? Those are the ways in which you show your body of work, and you have to have that. Otherwise, how will you even claim that I know this shit? Okay, so let's assume that you want to get a remote role and you want to get started today from wherever you are, whatever base you are. What are the couple of things you can do? Number one, contribution to open source. You might be expecting that already. Based on your experience level, the kind of issue that you would fix could be a more complicated issue. It might not be just beginner level issues. If you're not so much into coding, you're much into technology and understanding technology and have the ability to explain it in simple words, you can look at Google's Season of Doc. That is again a great place to contribute around the open source area. Second thing you can look at is CNCF. So this is CNCF, the Cloud Native Computing Foundation. You can see they have 153 projects, 190k contributors, 12 million plus contributions, and 188 countries. This thing is massive. Now the key is you go to contribute.cncf.io and you say I want to be a contributor, or you say I want to be a maintainer. There are various options. You could get into a technical advisory group, you can get into their special working groups, or you can become an ambassador, or definitely you can look up their meetups happening. Become an ambassador. There are multiple options. You can go to Continuous Delivery Foundation and then you can go to ambassadors. They also have something called community builders, and you can find yours truly here. Yep. So after CDF, you can also look at CNCF and their ambassador program. Similarly, DevOps Institute has an ambassador program. That's how you can hook it up. I will provide all these links in the description. DASA, the DevOps Agile Skill Association, they also have an ambassador program. So you can check those things out as well. Number 4, conferences. Find local meetups in your area of expertise, in your city, and go and attend them. Once you've attended them a couple of times, go and give a talk there. Once you're comfortable, find out a local conference happening in your city and go and talk there. Once you're comfortable at your city level, move to online conferences and give a talk there. Once you're comfortable at that place and you've done about 20-30 online talks, chances are the conferences will come to you to give a talk. The idea remains the same. Demonstrate your body of work, put yourself out there. Frequently asked questions. Question 1. I am from a tier 2 or a tier 3 city college. Does that really matter? As you've probably observed by now in this video, the only thing that matters is your body of work and how you showcase your body of work. To be really honest with you, it's probably a good thing that you're from a tier 2 or a tier 3 city college. I'll tell you why. Because the FANGs, the Amazons, the Facebooks aren't even probably coming to your college for placement. And you know that you have to look somewhere else and do something radical to be able to get a fantastic job. Focus on what you control and get started right now. I do not have a great CGPA. Does that really matter? CGPA matters if you're applying to large organizations where they automatically screen your resume and put a certain filter on the cutout. CGPA also matters if you're planning to apply for a master's. CGPA does not matter if you want to contribute to open source, if you want to share in public, if you want to teach someone, if you want to be a great dude out there. Most people outside of India recruiting for remote roles, at best, they have heard of IITs or IIMs. Beyond that, they don't know about any college and they don't even care. All they care about is your body of work and how well you can portray that. How do you get to the next level of remote jobs where I don't have to find them, but companies reach out to you to work with them? Very simple answer. 3-step process. Showcase your body of work, build a personal brand, put yourself out there on a consistent basis. Week after week, month after month, year after year. That's how I have done it. That's how several others have done it. That's how you can do it. My brother from another mother told me that I should not waste my time on open source. I'm confused. What do I do? Check the fruit on the tree. Is your bro an open source pro? What does his GitHub tree look like? Does he even have a GitHub profile worth checking? And I am saying this with all humility. I am not an open source expert myself. In fact, I did not even know about this open source route when I started my career over 20 years. There was nobody to guide me. I didn't know of this direction. But I would submit humbly that over the years, I have created a pretty solid body of work that is out there for you to view. You've seen the results already. Are freelance sites like Upwork, Freeworks, etc. not suitable to get started for remote work? Well, I have a slightly controversial view here. These sites are great for small contracting gigs, which may be a couple of days to a couple of weeks. It's not long term. And that's my opinion. Yours could be different, your experience could be different, but that's how I look at it. There are several issues with these kind of sites, and I list them. And again, my opinion only. Number one, today in 2023, there is a lot of competition on these sites. Number two, it's not a stable source. The projects are typically pretty small, couple of days to a couple of weeks. So you have to constantly keep looking for new work. Number three, and this is the biggest one, there is a lot of negotiation on pricing and there's a lot of energy to negotiate. And that for me is very demotivating. Does luck play a factor in getting a remote job? Of course, luck plays a factor in everything that you do. However, you have the luck that you have or don't have, right? What can you do about it? The one thing that you can do is increase the surface area of luck. Jason Roberts, a serial entrepreneur and co-host of the Tech Podcast, said this: the amount of serendipity that will occur in your life, your luck surface area, is directly proportional to the degree to which you do something you're passionate about, and combined with the total number of people to whom this is effectively communicated. Let me break it down in simple English and give you a formula around it. L is luck is equal to D is doing multiplied by T is telling. The more you do and the more you tell people about it, the larger your surface area of luck will become. Now this is totally under your control. This you can do. After seeing this video, you will actually have lost the option to blame luck for anything that happens in your life. You've been told. You've even been given a mathematical formula. Consider yourself enlightened today. Words of caution. As you venture into the world of remote working, you might be lured by certain scrupulous agencies out there. Bear the following words of caution. Number one, unpaid internships. Do not getting into the trap of paying for internships. The legit ones, just do not do it. If an organization wants your skill and your time and you are qualified for it, they will gladly pay for it as well. Number two, asking for a certain percentage of your salary against a job. There are a lot of organizations out there that ask between 5% to 10-15% of your monthly salary for up to a year for getting you a remote job. Please stay away from these agencies. Keep searching for the legit ones. Super expensive courses. It is perfectly okay to invest in yourself to learn a skill or a tool effectively and more easily. It is not okay to buy a super expensive course that does not seem to teach much but offers you the promise of remote placement at the end of that course. These are classic red flags that should up your antenna. Be careful. And this is my favorite one, the fourth one. Advice from advisors. While it's perfectly okay to take advice from your elder brother from another mother, it might not be such a great idea to take advice on remote jobs if that brother or that neighbor is not doing a remote job himself or herself. It just doesn't make any logical sense. As a wise man said, you do not Google on how to get into Google. You ask somebody working at Google on how to get into Google. Hopefully, this video has given you a step-by-step approach on how to get a remote job. Let me know in the comments if you want me to talk about any specific topic on this video or any other topic that you would like to hear about. Head over to my channel for more awesome remote content every single Friday. See you in the next one. Cheers.